Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? Sometimes over the course of an NFL season, 17 games, 18 weeks, it's like sometimes the breaks fall your way. And sometimes they don't. For example, in the COVID year, when the Saints went and played at Denver, again, a game that you play every fourth season, you'd play the Broncos. You ended up playing a quarterback that was actually a practice squad wide receiver. You caught a break that day. Flip side of it is, when the Saints hosted Miami last year, Miami caught a break. COVID ravaged New Orleans, and you end up starting Ian Book at quarterback. You had dudes in the locker room introducing themselves to each other. That's how dire the situation was for the Saints on that Monday night game against Miami. So sometimes the breaks go your way, and sometimes they do not. The challenging thing for New Orleans this year is that the breaks overwhelmingly have not gone the Saints' way. This is no excuse for what has happened to this team this year or anything of the sort. I've said it many times. They have been poorly coached. They're poorly prepared. They don't tackle well. There's a lot of things wrong. And when you have all of those things go wrong, generally you need some breaks to fall your way. And unfortunately, the exact opposite has happened for the New Orleans Saints this year. And that continued again today on two separate occasions. Number one, Matthew Stafford is no longer in the concussion protocol. So the Rams will have their starting quarterback this weekend whenever they play in New Orleans against the Saints. If you are the Arizona Cardinals, a week ago, you caught a big break. There was no Matthew Stafford, and the Rams ended up playing a couple of guys whose names you don't even know. And so Arizona got a win a week ago over the Rams because of the most important position on the field was decimated. And then we find out today that the Philadelphia Eagles have agreed to a deal with Ndamukong Suh. If you have not been here for any length of time, I, all offseason, pushed very hard and lobbied for the New Orleans Saints to sign Ndamukong Suh. Suh has spent the last 2 years with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the last 3 years, with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, was part of their Super Bowl team in 2020. His contract expired. He has not been with a team yet this season, presumably waiting for a great opportunity, and this would certainly qualify. He gets to go to the best team in the NFC, where they are thin on the defensive line. Their first-round draft pick, Jordan Davis, out of Georgia, is on IR. He will return at some point, but when you've got Linval Joseph and now, of course, Fletcher Cox is there, and they sign Ndamukong Suh, the Saints are going to go to Philadelphia and now have to deal with Ndamukong Suh. And that's just part of it. When you look at so many other situations this year, the Saints play the Ravens the week they acquire Roquan Smith from the Bears. And Roquan Smith came up with a massive stop early in that game on a 3rd and 1. You go play Pittsburgh, and T.J. Watt returns from his injury when you go to Pittsburgh. And, of course, that was a great defensive performance by the Steelers. Stafford this week returning for the Rams. When you look ahead, you're going to go to San Francisco, who acquired Christian McCaffrey. Had you played them earlier in the year, you wouldn't have to have dealt with McCaffrey. If you played him early enough, heck, you might have even been able to face a third-year quarterback. So, look, when you go to Philadelphia, you'll have to face Ndamukong Suh. When you play Cleveland, because that game's late in the season, you're going to face Deshaun Watson on the road. Had that been earlier in the season, it would have been Jacoby Brissett. Instead, it's a much more difficult game now when New Orleans does go to Cleveland. So, and then look, I mean, we talked about it so much before the season started. The Saints' schedule shaped up where they really needed to make hay early and late because the middle was a meat grinder. And early in the season, you would have loved to have been able to get off to a really good start, but of course, Jameis Winston got injured, and you were playing a quarterback with a broken back and torn ligament in his foot against Carolina, which was an inherently winnable game on the road before you went over to London, and you dropped that one after dropping the one to Tampa. So it's been one of those years where not a lot has gone right for the Saints, and even some of the breaks that you hope to catch throughout the course of a season have gone against the Saints this year. For what it's worth, Dennis Allen did meet with the media, gave a little bit of an update after practice on Wednesday before they're heading toward the game against the Rams.
We had good practice today. We worked a ton on fundamentals and technique. Guys are hungry to get back out there again, and we're looking forward to playing the Rams.
We did talk yesterday about the decision, which is to stick with Andy Dalton. Can you play number 4, please? Here was Dennis Allen on the decision to start Andy Dalton this week over Jameis Winston.
A lot of the factors just went into, how we're playing and how we're operating, obviously, and it's not good enough. But I think, part of the factor is there's a lot of elements in this team that have to improve, and there's a lot of other areas that we have to work on, to help in that regard so that we'll play better as a team. So, you kind of want to look at one spot, but yet there's a lot of factors that we have to, or a lot of positions that have to play better, and that's where we're starting.
I don't disagree that a lot of positions have to play better than just quarterback, but you don't have an option in a lot of positions. You do have an option at quarterback, presumably, unless if Jameis Winston's not healthy. Here was Dennis Allen on Jameis Winston's health, and if that factored into this decision.
Again, like we said before, he's not 100%. I'm not sure if he's going to be 100%. But like I said, there was a lot of things that we talked over. I'm not going to go into great detail on all the specific things that were discussed, but at the end of it, I decided to go with Andy.
Saints-Rams, noon from the Dome on Sunday. The Saints are battling their own lengthy injury report, as we've talked about a lot throughout the course of this year. It's hard to see it getting much better this week or as we move through the coming weeks. Maybe you get Trevor Penning back and you start to see what he might be able to mean for this team as it moves forward. We'll wait on an injury report to come out here at some point this afternoon. But the lengthy injury report, Saints will be shorthanded again when they play the Rams Sunday in the Dome. Saints do remain 3.5 point favorite in this game over the Rams, one that the Saints could get of their remaining 7. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.